Your thoughts about 67? I'm assuming that you were around in 67 in the D, and if so, give me your thoughts about what was happening and your thoughts about what caused what happened.
You know, Cliff, I was 11 years old. I didn't listen to my parents out there. I'll tell you about that story.
Okay.
And I spent a night at the Wayne County Youth Home.
Okay. Yeah, we got to hear that story.
Yeah, okay. But as an 11-year-old, I used to hear my brother Mike and Sam. When the Big Four came down the street, people dispersed. These guys were rough. And I just believe a combination of
y'all don't know nothing
the
about
Big Four
that.
and the police department.
You don't know nothing about that
statistic of 6,000 police officers,
when
about
the Big
1%
Four
was
come down,
African
say, "Your
American
ass
during that
move."
time. And then you had us cornered
don't
off
know
in
about no Big
areas,
Four.
segregated off areas. I just believe we just got tired. And then people don't realize, too, the police was in on the illegal content, illegal game, too.
Yeah.
And they was, they was buffaloing the blind pigs and stuff, getting their little money. It just, black folks got tired, okay? And then the result of that was the
You got
aftermath
fries in the bag too?
of the rebellion.
So you call it a rebellion?
I call it rebellion.
Yes. Yeah. I remember the Big Four. Exactly what you said. When we saw that black car coming down the street, we took off. We used to run to the alley. Where I live, we'd run through backyards to the alleys, wait for them to pass by, and then slowly make our way back up to the street just in case they had turned around.
They were no joke.
Oh no, they were brutal, they were mean, and they were doing it on purpose.
Right.
Yeah,
they did on purpose.
To keep us in check.
yes, that's true. Has that stopped?
The only difference here is we have a black police chief for the last 4 or 5 years. We didn't have black police chiefs. So I don't think it's that
y'all didn't know what was going on
then. The other things, I was just talking to somebody the other day about ghetto economics. The attitude that comes out of ghetto economics, the break-ins and all that other stuff. So there's a different kind of interaction with the police now. And really, like the 10th and 12th precinct, I'm over there. Them black men try to keep the community together. They try to work with the brothers who's doing illegal stuff. They try to, when they stop a guy, they're trying to take him downtown and stuff like that. But in other communities that don't look like us, there's a difference. Go to Oak Park.
Yes. Good example.
Okay, what happened to me in Oak Park?
Tell me about. But before we do that, how did you end up spending the night in the Wayne County Youth Home?
I had to tell you that one.
You can't tell that on the radio.
Yeah, I can tell it. So my mother told me, do not follow my brother Kenny. See, parents know their children. I followed my brother Kenny, and so we went up on Livernois. And let me just tell you how Livernois was. On the corner of Finkel and Livernois was Cunningham's. Remember Cunningham's?
I sure do.
Remember Kelly's Menswear? Remember Kresge's?
Yes.
They was all in that little strip. And then at the end on John C. Lodge, there was a rib shack where the guys were barbecuing the ribs in the window. Then across the street was Lara Coast.
Right.
And then down the street was Good Housekeeping.
Yeah, I remember Good Housekeeping.
I followed my brother Kenny.
I remember that when I first got my friendship. My stove refrigerator. Good Housekeeping.
And I don't know what time it was. I can't remember the time. So all of a sudden I had some shoes in my arms. I was,
don't know how they got there. Just
I don't know how they got there. I was just shopping, man. You know what I'm saying? So all of a sudden, a bus came, the DSR bus came, and just stopped, and the National Guards got off the bus and said, get up against the wall. Okay?
Wow.
And the guns were out and the whole shot. And I looked to see where my brother was at, and he was nowhere to be found. So they put us on the bus, they laid us on the floor
of the bus,
and took us to the old 12th precinct, not the new one, the old.
Right.
And so they took us in there, and then we got to sign it, they signed us in and all that stuff. And then the next day, I was in a paddy wagon, or that night I was in a paddy wagon, and they took me down to Wayne County Youth Home.
Oh my.
And so I asked my sister this the other day, what was Mama and them thinking? Was I dead? Or where was I?
Right.
I brought pain not listening to my mother.
Uh-huh.
But then when my father came and got me, I couldn't get to the car. I got slammed.
Yes.
And he said, I told you not to follow your brother.
Right. So you brought them pain and they brought you pain.
It was an equal deal. It was an equal deal.
What about economically in Detroit back then, Keith Williams? We both were looking at the article written by Bill McGraw. And,
some salt.
you know, proportionately, black folks have always earned less, had more hardship than whites and others. But I recall the 60s being a time when folks felt they could get a good job. They were just tired of being treated as second-class citizens by the city and by the police. But economically, I thought that we felt we had some opportunities.
But listen to this. They said the flight of the industry from Detroit began after World War II, and the city lost 165,000 jobs from 1955 to 1963. The unemployment rate in 1967 was 6.2%.
Yes.
Amongst us. And then the overall is 9.1% in April 2016. The automotive industry has always been our love and always been our Achilles heel.
Mm-hmm.
And I got another article here. It says, Detroit's downfall beyond the myth of black misleadership. How federal policies and big auto drove black blight and white flight.
Yes. Yes. Now, the federal government building the freeways and then allowing people to have special vouchers or special incentives to move and build in the suburbs, but not in Detroit. That certainly sped up white flight and some black flight out of Detroit.
Yes, and you think about it. I saw another article, and I think it's in this article. Blacks their gangs was in union kind of jobs.
Right.
But it was never in the other sectors. Okay?
Right.
So when the pain came to the auto industry, the pain came to us.
Right.
Okay? And so at that time, they said around 67, we lost 130,000 jobs.
You know, I got to go back to what you said, too. Earlier, we were having a discussion about the Detroit that we grew up in.
Yes.
And some guys who grew up in the 50s said it was hard to find a job in the 50s. I said, well, I grew up in the 60s and everybody had jobs. But you just said from 55 to 63, they lost jobs.
Yes. And look at this clip. And this article said the nation still calls Detroit the Motor City, but the end of the 1950 was certainly not that. Big Auto dealt the first blow. Crush was passed from World War II, anticipated a huge growth in demand for their products. Ford to the Motor City Chrysler, listen to this, abandoned Detroit multi-story plants, abandoned in favor of new sprawling horizontal campuses, former farmlands in Detroit, suburbs, Ohio, Indiana, and Canada. Between 1947 and 58, the Big Three built 25 new factories, none of them were in Detroit.
Ah, see, there we go.
See, they abandoned us way back in the 50s.
Yes.
They saw the new migration of us coming into this community. That's when those federal policies and housing policies, and they started opening up the other suburbs that those folks started fleeing from us and left the cities to us with no resources.
I'm going to go back to something else you just said, too, Keith Williams. You talked about right up there on Livernois near Finkel and the Lodge Freeway.
Right.
There was business after business after business that was thriving in our neighborhood.
Yes, but it didn't look like us. It wasn't owned by us.
No, not at all.
Right.
So what happened? Those businesses left and just didn't come back.
Remember old E.J. Corvettes and all that,
Yes.
Federals and all that?
Wow.
They left.
Mm-hmm.
They left. And then the new conversion was, now we got the new conversion of dollar stores and things like that.
Right.
But we still don't own those either.
No, we don't.
So through all this process, we were either workers and consumers and not producers of our own skill sets.
So, which brings me to this question. And by the way, our very special guest, Keith Williams. You can call it 313-209-9000. What should we be doing right now? We've learned those lessons. We remember 67. We have seen the evolution of Detroit and our folks in Detroit since that time. What are we missing, Keith? See, how much time do we have?
The spirit of it, yes, we can.
Explain that.
You know, we have lost our spirit, man. I remember when I was a kid, my father, there was in that migration of mass exodus of the auto industry, my father got laid off from Chryslers. And guess what my father did? He opened up a landscaping business. He was sodding.
Mm-hmm.
We knew how to make the conversion.
Yes.
back in those days because we were trying to feed our families. My father, I tell people this. It was a uniform code on my street called Homer Street. At 3 o'clock, you can hear the keys being put in the car, in the engines, and every man was going somewhere to work. And so when they're going to somewhere to work, that income was coming back to that community. Now I knew when the fathers were coming home, Cliff, because the aroma of food in the air.
You know what? I had never thought of that before, Keith, but you're absolutely right.
Think about it. Every household was cooking the beans,
right?
Cooking. The mothers were cooking. You had a meal. You had a family meal. Everything is instant now. Instagram, Facebook, and all that stuff. And the family is being destroyed. So the most important thing what we need to do, to me, is how do we get our families back?
Now let's talk about that for a second. And callers, I see you there. We're going to get to you in just a second. A lot of us focus on economics. A lot of us focus on education when it comes to building our families and building our community. But I think I just heard Keith Williams say we've got to start on our families.
Yes.
That's where it begins.
That spirit. When my father used to tell us to get on Sunday morning, let's get ready to go to church.
Yes.
When my father got his check on Friday, we knew we was getting ready to get a gift.
Yeah.
During the week, I saw my mother get us up, get ready for school, man. It was the organization of the father and the mother in the household directing traffic in that household.
Yes. And making sure that nothing happened that they weren't allowing to happen.
Yes. It was discipline.
Yes.
It was love.
There you go.
And it was a little bit of economics to everyone's eye every now and then.
So how do you get that back? We just can't go into everybody's family and tell them what to do.
No, we have to put it in their atmosphere about the family. We cannot be scared to be talking about it. We can't be scared about their Cliff.